So hello everybody, welcome to Farmer Friday. Before we get started, I am going to introduce Miss Lisa Graybiel and Dr. David Volkman. Ms. Graybiel is a Deputy Secretary from the Department of Agriculture here in Pennsylvania. So let's give her a nice warm welcome.
Good morning, everyone. I am really excited to be with you guys today because Deputy Secretary of Agriculture is kind of a long title, but really originally I am a dairy farmer. My family and I have a dairy farm in southern Lancaster County. We milk about 820 cows. And I'm excited to be here because our farm is not a robotic milking parlor farm. We have a different way of milking our cows. So I'm really excited to take this tour with you guys today. I'm wondering if, I think maybe a lot of you guys may think when somebody says an agriculture job, you may think that it is being a farmer or milking cows. And it's really so much more than that. And I think I want to go over some careers that you might not even think, wow, that's agriculture related. So obviously being a farmer, but a veterinarian, if you like to work with animals. What do we do on a farm? Well, we run a lot of equipment and machinery and tractors. So we're always in need of people who can work on those things. We need mechanics, people who know what to do with computers, because a lot of our modern technology and modern equipment now works with computers, and we hook up laptop computers to find out what's wrong with them. Also, what do animals eat? How do we balance their diet? They have to eat like you and I do. So we need nutritionists. We need people to figure out what's good for our animals to eat and what makes them healthy. So some of you might think, well, no, none of this is for me. I'm going to go to law school, or I'm going to be an accountant. But do you know what? On our farm, we have an accountant, and we have worked with lawyers in the past who specialize in agricultural law or agricultural accounting, because they're it's a very specialized accounting or doing taxes. So we have people who may think that being an attorney or an accountant has nothing to do with agriculture, and yet some people specialize in agriculture. How do we get our food from the fields to the grocery stores? Transportation. So there's another career, figuring out how to work the food system, getting our food to our stores and to our consumers. It's all the logistics. But we really can't talk about agriculture without talking about technology. Right now on our farm, I'm sitting in my office in Harrisburg, but on our farm right now, my family is planting corn. And we're planting corn without even having to steer the tractor, because it runs on GPS. And we can download information on a laptop computer. And there's precision agriculture and genomics and all of these things that have to do with technology that is a part of agriculture right now. And it's so interesting. So yeah, being with outdoors and being with animals and working with that's one side of agriculture, but there's so many more areas to explore. If you don't know, the number of jobs in the industry has increased by 2.4% since 2018. And we have an aging workforce that's retiring. So a lot of opportunities will be opening up. And we hope one of the reasons we do these things is to make it available and let everybody know what's out there for ag jobs. So I'm excited because today you're going to see a real life dairy farm. You're going to hear about some skills and jobs that are needed on this farm. Farms like Oakleigh's are crucial to the state in getting food on the table for you and your families. So as you participate in the tour today, take some time to think about where your interests are, how they may be related to agriculture, and then ask questions, keep exploring, there might be an opportunity out there for you. So thank you, Friends of Ag Foundation and Oakleigh Farm, for hosting this event today. This is exciting, and I'll be tagging along with you on the virtual tour here. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Ms. Graybeal. And now we'll hand it over to Dr. David Volkman, and he is a Deputy Secretary from the Pennsylvania Department of Education.
Well, good morning, everybody. It's good to be with you again. I have an answer to the acreage when we get near the end of the program. But you know, one of the things that we're really concerned about here at the Department of Education is STEM. And I think you've heard an awful lot about STEM over the last number of years, but we know that 91% of all the jobs are going to require STEM training. And STEM is actually woven into every component of agriculture, as Lisa Graybill shared with us. So making agriculture a tremendous source, really, for STEM careers. A recent study was commissioned by the United States Department of Agriculture, and they said that the need for a significant growth in agriculturally related jobs is up 20% over the last number of years in the United States. And of course, we need those jobs, as was noted, in food, renewable energy, the environmental sector, and all those component parts. Obviously, we also noted about the STEM-related areas: veterinary medicine, environmental science, food services, biochemistry. Think of all the various occupations and careers that are out there. And of course, the other thing we have to think about is food, and something I like a great deal, and I hope you do as well. Anyway, one of the things that we were talking about was the fact that there'll be another 17% of STEM careers here in the Commonwealth added over the next 6 years, 17% increase. So future careers and endeavors in agriculture are important, as many of you are the future, truly the future of our food and fiber production here, not only in Pennsylvania, but across the United States. So thank you all very much.
Thank you, Dr. Volkman. And now let's head on over to the farm.
Hi, everyone. Good morning. My name is Amy Leslie. I am with American Dairy Association Northeast, and I'm so excited to partner with you all in Pennsylvania Farm Bureau this morning for our virtual farm tour at Oakleigh Farms. Just a reminder, as we get the questions via the Q&A box, we'll have the chat feature turned off now during the tour. I know we have had some great answers to Dr. Volkman's question, but we're gonna do all the questions through the Q&A box now. So be sure to put those in. Farmer Matt will be great as we go along to answer what we need. But so be sure to put those in there. And then just check the chat if your question has already been asked or will be answered. And then go find Farmer Matt. We just want to thank the Graybill Foundation for their support of Remake Learning Days for events like today, but also the more than 500 events that are happening across Pennsylvania as part of Remake Learning. So now with that, let's go find Farmer Matt.
Hey guys, my name is Matt. Welcome to our farm. So my family and I operate Oakleigh Dairy Farm. It's owned by my parents, Glenn and Karen, and we farm 400 acres, and we milk, or maybe I should say the robots milk, our 120 cows. Some of the crops we grow here on our operation are corn, soybeans, alfalfa, small grains, wheat, barley, things like that. And we use all of that feed to feed our cows. We're excited to have you here and show you a true robotic dairy and what a 21st century dairy farm could look like in some cases. So actually, while we're standing here, this is our Lily astronaut robot. This cow just came in. She's getting her udder washed and prepped right now. The brushes are cleaning off the teeth. And then here in a second, you'll see it's actually going to turn on a laser to find the teeth and attach the milk cups. All of this is done automatically. So here comes that laser. Scanning to find the teeth. And it goes up and attaches. While the cow's in here getting milk, she's actually getting a pellet for feed. It's kind of like candy for the cow. She really enjoys that. And you'll actually see cows come to the robot That way they can just try to get more pellet, but the robot will say, no, it's not your turn yet. We sanitize the brushes between every cow. And as you can see, the milk will flow through here and gets collected in this jar before it gets shipped over to the big tank. On average, our cows are coming through these robots about 2.8 to 3 times a day. One of the unique things about the robots is the cows have free choice to the robot. They can come through as often as they want, and then 24 hours a day, even in the middle of the night, if they want to get a little midnight snack of that pellet, come in and get milk. So now, if you guys want to follow me, we'll take you over and show you where we keep some of the calves. So as we walk through the barn here, this first pen is an area that the robots can sort off of. These are some of our cows that need a little special attention. So we have them here close by so we can give them the attention they need. So right here, we have a couple calves. Our calves get to stay in here and hang out for a little bit until their individual hutch is ready to go. So they get to just chill out, relax in a nice soft bedding, and then get lots of love and attention. So over here in this pen then, these are actually the cows that are getting ready to have their calves. So we keep them in the barn here so we can keep a close eye on them. And that way, once they have their calf, we can move them into a nice bedded pen and then take care of them, go through our calf raising process. So here on our farm, we are a registered Holstein herd. So you might notice we got black and white Holsteins and red and white Holsteins, just as a different gene for the red coloring. I think this girl's pretty extra cute since she's got the little black brown nose. So now I guess we'll head over to the other side of the barn and kind of show you some of the more business end as well.
And just a reminder, as you think of questions, you can go ahead and drop them in the Q&A box. The Q&A box again.
Talked about cows getting a robot is storing them in and out. We good?
Take a peek back at how the robot's going.
All right, so over on this side of the barn, this is the feed alley side. So if we come on down here, what you doing, Blue? So like I said, here's our cows that are waiting to have their calves, relaxing on the nice sawdust. So here on this farm, we bed entirely with sawdust, known as a bedded pack. And as we're walking down here, you'll look up ahead. So this is our automatic feeding system. So this is the Lely Vector. Affectionately, we call him Gordon, after Chef Gordon Ramsay, because of the whole mixing and cooking aspect. So right now, Gordon's loaded up. He's coming down the feed alley, and he's going to push up the feed to the cows. Just like the milking robots, Gordon runs 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. He takes care of the cows, making sure they have all the feed they need. Question we get asked often is, did we put the eyes on? And yes, we did. We like to give Gordon a little extra personality.
Farmer Matt, do you name the different cows?
Yeah. So we do name the cows, and they also have numbers that we can identify them with. That way we can keep track of all the records of that cow. So here we have 924. Her name is actually Hopeful. So this area here is actually a waiting area for the cows. So you can see there's cows waiting to go into the robot to get milk. They really enjoy spending time in the robot. And as I mentioned before, the cows have access to these robots all day long, can come and go as they please. So as we work our way on up the barn here, you'll notice in our scrape alley where the cows are standing, these are our manure collectors. So some of you might have a Roomba in your house. My cows essentially have a Roomba for their house. So the collector runs around and sucks up the manure and then deposits it into our manure pit. These guys have a nickname too. They're called Mario and Luigi. So one of the unique things about our barn too is we are a compost bedded pack facility. So the cows are laying on a sawdust bed over there as well. So you see this cow, she's up getting some feed. So here on our farm, we do a lot of corn silage, haylage, and wheatlage. So that's what the cows are eating. They're getting a mix of that, and then also 2 different grain mixes that's made up of corn and soybeans and things like that. All of that's put together by our nutritionalist. He's our dietitian for the cows. That way we get a well-balanced ration. And so you'll notice behind us, here comes Gordon. He's pushing up the feed so that way it's close in with the cows.
What kind of
And if you notice, oh,
just a quick question.
If you notice on the back side of the Gordon here is a laser. It's actually measuring how much feed is at the feed bunk. So he knows when to feed the cows. If the cows eat more, he'll come out and deliver more feed for them. I think there was a question.
What kind of power does Gordon and the other robots run on?
So all the robots are running on just a 12-volt battery like you have in your car. And they're automatically recharging. So the first collector we saw is sitting on his charger. Right now, Gordon's running off his batteries. So he's actually getting ready to deliver some feed to the cows. And you'll notice there's no cows up there. But once they know that Gordon's coming out to feed, a couple cows will start to come out and get a fresh bite to eat. So one of the other things I like to point out about our barn is how quiet it is. I don't know if you guys can tell that through the video or not, but part of that is because of our fans. So we've got 5 big fans over where the cows are laying down. And we also have our tall sidewalls with curtains. So these fans are putting air down over the cows, keeping them nice and comfortable. And they're super quiet and energy efficient. And then the sidewalls of the barn have curtains that right now you can see they're wide open. It's a beautiful day here in southern Pennsylvania, so the curtains are wide open, letting in the natural airflow and ventilation. And so the cool thing about our curtains and the fans, everything is temperature, wind, and precipitation control. So as it gets colder in the fall and the winter, you'll actually see the curtains start to lower and close up and the fans will slow down. And then in the dead of winter, the barn's nice and closed up tight, fans are off to keep as much heat in the barn as we can. We also, while we're looking at this side of the barn, so all of our feed is stored in silos. So they're large concrete structures, and Gordon can actually turn the silos on and off automatically and load up the precise ration for the cows.
What's the day like?
So kind of our day-to-day activities. One of the cool things, so because we have all this technology, we actually have an app on our phone that we can look into the barn and see what all's going on. We can see what cows have visited the robots and what cows haven't. So we can come out in the barn, find the cows that maybe haven't been to the robot yet, and then get them up towards the robot. We actually go through our bedding over here with a rototiller. So we stir it up and mix that up twice a day. That's part of the process with a bedded pack to keep the cows clean and comfortable. Some of the other things we do are just keeping track of the robots, making sure they're running. Like to keep them a little bit clean. That way they run to the best of their ability. And obviously we feed calves twice a day and take care of all the field work. So right now, like was mentioned earlier, it is beautiful corn planting weather. So we're getting out in the field, planting corn, we're mowing hay, and we're actually going to be chopping it here later on this weekend, putting up fresh feed for the cows.
How long are they laying down, eating?
So one of the unique things about the robot, since the cows have free access to come up and eat or go to the robot, they'll spend about 7 minutes a milking in the robot. And then the rest of the time they can split between laying down or coming up and eating. As you can see, a lot of the herd's actually relaxing right now. So they've been up and active this morning, but now they're just down relaxing, but still visiting the robot. And since Gordon just delivered some fresh feed, there's more cows coming up to get a good bite to eat. So one of the other fun things that we have for our cows to do is the brushes up here. Surprisingly, right now, since Gordon just went by and delivered feed, nobody wants to use the brush right now, but they can go up there, bump that brush, and it'll actually spin and give them a good head rub and back scratch. Honestly, I think my cows have a competition of how many can use the brush at once. So far, the record is 4. So here comes Mario. You can see he's sucking up the manure, keeping the scrape alley nice and clean for the cows. So this barn, it's a new barn. Unfortunately, we had a barn fire back in December of 2019. Thankfully, we got all the cows out in time, and we were able to rebuild this new facility with the help of Penn State Extension. They kind of helped us design the barn a little bit, and then also Laley had a big part in this since we wanted to implement their equipment. They had some different ideas and things they'd like to see. But this barn's designed around cow comfort. So that's where the fans, the collectors, the robots, the feeder, all contribute to that comfortable cow. So we like to keep the cows as comfortable as we can because that helps them do their job. Comfortable cows make good milk, and as they make milk, it allows us to care for them better.
Do the cows ever go outside and roam around, or do they always stay inside?
So whenever our cows have, it's called the dry period before they have their next calf, we move them to another barn that they do have a pasture and they can go outside. Here in this barn, though, they stay inside and they enjoy it because everything is climate controlled with the fans and keeping them nice and cool. So on a warmer day like today, where it's going to be 85 degrees outside, the barn will stay right about 70.
How long do cows usually live?
Well, so we have a range of ages in our barn. The oldest cow in our barn right now is 14 years old. And you'll notice cows like to be a little nosy. They're very curious creatures. She's going to clean all your screens for you if you just give her a minute.
Now, if these are girls, where are the boy cows?
So the boy cows get bought by other farms and they move on to find other careers. One of the unique things that I didn't talk about is actually the collar on the cows. So you see those red numbers and there's a red thing hanging underneath the cow's neck. So this collar is like a Fitbit for a cow. What that does, it's tracking this cow as she moves. So it's tracking her activity, how many minutes she's up here eating. And cows do a thing called ruminate where they chew their cud. And so it's tracking that as well by listening in with little tiny microphones. All of that gets piled in together through the computer system. And then that gives us an indication of how healthy the cow is. If she's not feeling so well, my dad or myself can then give the cow the attention she needs. So Gordon just got done delivering feed. He's coming back into his charger now, which is also where he loads up all the feed. If the cows are full, then he'll just sit in there for about an hour, and then he'll come back out and push up the feed for the cows. But looks like a group might need fed, so we'll probably hear them turn on the silos and conveyors to deliver a fresh load of feed to the cows.
How much time do the robots help cut down on manpower?
So with all the robotic technology in the barn here, I'll say we essentially replaced a person or two. We are a family-run operation, so primarily it's my dad, myself, and also my grandfather. He's 87 and still active on the farm. He takes care of some of the heifers and everything up at his place. And so all of that has really helped with the robots, giving Dad and I more opportunity to spend time with the cows and give them the attention they need, but also spend more time as a family. So my nephew, he's 5, he just started to play t-ball, and his first t-ball game was Monday night at 6 o'clock. And so Dad and I were in the barn here. 6 o'clock came, we went to his t-ball game quick, and then we came back to the barn and finished up our work after we got to watch his first t-ball game.
How many pounds of feed does a cow eat each day to stay healthy?
So our cows are eating 110 pounds of feed a day.
And how much?
Because they're really big animals.
What was the next question?
How much food can Gordon hold?
So Gordon can mix up about 1,400 pounds of mixing. Total throughout the barn, he's feeding around 17 mixes a day.
And I think one more Gordon question. How long does it take Gordon to charge?
So right now, as Gordon's sitting in here and loading up, he's actually charging. So he's constantly charging throughout the day. So right now, Gordon's loading with corn silage. Gordon actually has scales on him that tell him how much feed is in there, and he's loading a precise amount so our cows get that proper balanced ration. It's too bad you guys can't smell the good smell of corn silage. It's a great smell. It's one of my favorite times of years in the fall whenever we get to chop corn silage.
So how much milk does a cow produce daily on average?
So right now, our cows are producing right around 85 pounds per day. To kind of put that into perspective, that's nearly 10 gallons of milk per cow per day. And so in the barn here today, we have 110 cows. Usually we're right around that 120 mark. And that's paired up nicely with having 2 robots. Each robot can milk about 60 cows a day.
And how does the robot know when to start milking?
So that's one of the other reasons to have the collars. So those collars actually ID the cows. So as that cow comes in, it scans her collar and it says, it's time for you to be milked, or wait a minute, you're just trying to get an extra bite of feed, wait your turn, and it'll let them back out and tell them to try again later. So the robot knows every single cow, and it knows who she is, where her udder is, where the teats are, and it remembers all of that.
What's the difference? Go ahead.
I was going to say, there is a cow using the brush now. Now, what was the question?
What's the difference between brown cows and white or black cows?
So all it is genetics. So just like some of us have black hair or blonde hair or red hair, it's the same thing in dairy cows as well. So that's where Holsteins can have red or black coloring for Holsteins. Jerseys are brown, and brown Swiss. Ayrshires kind of have Ayrshires and milking Shorthorns have this reddish tint as well. This is one of my favorite things. It's just to watch a cow get her back scratched. They really love those brushes.
And Matt was talking about the different breeds of dairy cows. There's 7 breeds of dairy cows. It's very similar to dogs and breeds of different dogs. You know, they all look a little bit different. They all have their different traits and things, but they are all dogs. I like to say that cows really have the life. They get to, you know, they get to eat and drink as much as they want throughout the day. They get to go and lay down, and then they work a little bit, but nothing too crazy. And then they get to hang out with their herd mates.
So how does the milk get from your farm to where all the people can drink it?
So on the farm here, we have a big milk tank. We keep milk here for 2 days, and then a milk truck comes, picks up the milk, and takes it to the processing plant. So our milk specifically goes to a bottling plant. It's bottled under the brand name of Mayola, which is sold in Food Lion. Also, if you have a Costco near you and you see that weirdly shaped gallon jug, that's another area that our milk goes to. And our co-op actually just bought a new processing plant down in North Carolina that makes Tillamook ice cream. So some other farms that ship milk, their milk is getting turned into ice cream through Tillamook. So the milk truck comes here every other day to pick up the milk. And the really unique thing with the robots, there's a special tank in the milk tank area, the milk house, where even as the milkman's picking up the milk, the robots keep milking and stored in that secondary tank momentarily until the tank is clean and sanitized and ready for that milk then. So the cows don't even know it's happening.
Are your cows just milk cows, or do they produce meat too?
So yeah, our cows' primary goal is they are milk cows. So this is one of my favorite things, just spending some time in the barn. It is just so comfortable in here. There's a light breeze blowing. Usually we actually have 2 chairs here that we'll just sit here in the evening sometimes, just take in the barn, watch the robots work, watch the cows work, and just lay there, chew their cud, come up and eat, or go through the robot.
We have a question about Mario. How do you clean Mario?
So I get to get the scrub brush and scrub Mario and Luigi all up. So I got to give props to my dad. My dad's the one that actually cleaned them up a little bit for us this morning. So one of the cool things about our farm is we've actually been, I would be the 4th generation to dairy. So it was my great grandfather that first started to milk cows here at this farm. But even before then, our family was actually horse traders. So we transitioned from horse farmers to dairy farmers. Started with just 10 cows and slowly grew the herd to now the 120 that we milk. I really love working with the cows and being out in the fields. There's just something to be said about helping feed this growing population, you know, helping the cows produce the milk so that they can make the ice cream and the cheeses and yogurts and butter. It's tough to describe until you actually get to experience that. It's a very rewarding career. There are some long hours and long days, but you get to, like I said, we'll come back in the barn at the end of a long day and just sit down and relax. This is just kind of a breath of fresh air and a sigh of relief. And so just in that short amount of time that we've been talking, Gordon loaded up a new mix of feed and he'll be getting ready to come back out into the barn.
Do you have any other animals on your farm, or is it just the cows now?
So we actually do have a couple chickens. We just use them for eggs for ourselves. And then my sister and my sister-in-law also have horses. And obviously, yeah, I don't know. Our dogs were hanging out with us here, but they went off to explore other adventures.
Do you have a favorite cow?
Not necessarily a favorite cow, kind of like some of the adults in your life. You know, they can't pick a favorite child. There are some cows who are known more for being a little cantankerous and creating chaos. Have one cow, she likes to come up and grab my beard.
We saw a brown calf earlier that you were petting. What was its name?
Actually, that one, since she was just born the other day, we haven't named her yet. So feel free to drop some name suggestions in the chat box below there. We like to name them starting with the first letter of the cow's name. So that calf was out of a cow that we named Molly. So any name that starts with the letter M is a great suggestion.
How many other cows are going to have babies?
So in the pen right now, we have about 4 or 5 that are getting ready to have their calves within about the next 3 weeks. On average, we have about 10 to 12 calves born on the farm every month.
And how many calves does each cow have each year?
So every year a cow can have 1 calf, although sometimes you will get a cow that has 2, but usually it's just 1. So here we can get a close-up view of Gordon delivering some of the fresh feeds. So as I mentioned earlier, we work with a nutritionalist that balances the ration, what we call the food for the cows. So these animals up here have different nutritional needs. So that's where this mix is actually just corn silage and a little bit of the grain mixes, as opposed to the cows who get corn silage and haylage and a little bit of wheatlage. And just like I'm sure you guys know where the cookie jar is in the house, you can see these animals learned what Gordon's job was, and they'll come up and get that fresh food. Kind of like whenever my mom makes fresh cookies, I can usually start to smell them, and I'll end up at the house pretty soon as she takes them out of the oven. Love getting that fresh baked cookie.
With a glass of milk.
With a glass of milk.
How much does a cow weigh and why are they so big?
So our cows weigh on average right around 1,600 pounds whenever they're full grown. These yearlings here, they're going to weigh right around 1,000.
Do cows
I hope
have
you guys aren't as messy of eaters as these cows. What was the next question?
Do cows have allergies to food or any other things?
No, there are certain things that a cow should not eat, but no food allergies like we have.
How many teeth do they have?
Ooh, that's actually a great question. I don't know the answer to that one. I don't know. Amy might. So what's kind of unique is cows actually only have teeth on the bottom and then also on back through their jaw. So because cows are used to eating a forage-based diet, they're not like us where we have to chew our food. I mean, as we chop the feed, you can see it's already pre-processed. So a cow doesn't have to eat quite as often. And that's why cows are called ruminants, because they have 4 stomachs and the cows chew their cud. So they ruminate, they keep passing the bulk of feed from their stomach up to their mouth where they can chew it, and then they'll swallow it again, and then they'll spit it back up and chew it in their mouth and then swallow it again.
Well, Farmer Matt, this is Lisa, and I didn't know that question either, and I'm a dairy farmer, so I looked it up really quick, and it says that cattle first develop 20 temporary or baby teeth, and then they eventually fall out, just like what happens with us, and then they're replaced with 32 permanent or adult teeth. So we learned something today.
There you go. You should learn something new every day. I just learned one new thing.
Yeah, so if your mom says that you chew like a cow, it's not necessarily a compliment. If you can see these girls, they're a little messy. So it's a good reminder to chew with your mouth closed. But, you know, as Matt mentioned with Mario and Luigi, they're also not potty trained. It's really hard to train these cows to try and, you know, chew with their mouth closed or anything like that. So, yeah, it's kind of fun without top teeth. They can't really bite. They can hurt, but it's not a true bite with their teeth. So thank you, Lisa, for that helping us out there.
Honestly, that's one of my favorite things about giving tours is I get to share our story with everybody, and people ask different questions and hard questions, and then I get to go back and learn even more.
Does the feed stay there or is it cleaned periodically? And how much is wasted?
So we will clean this up periodically. Some of the cows do get to be picky eaters, but just like some of us like, maybe some of us like carrots, and I know I personally, I don't like tomatoes. Other animals will still like what's here. So we actually clean this up about once a week or so and take it to some of our cows. So we try to get as much nutritional value out of the feed as we can.
What do you do with your manure?
So the manure that Mario and Luigi collect is stored here on the farm, and then a couple times a year we'll spread it out on the field. It provides good nutrients to the soil and helps our crops grow, especially if we get some rain.
Do you have to give them vitamins like humans?
So we do actually give the cows some vitamins whenever they first calve. It just helps them get going, and then even the young calves. So whenever a cow first has a calf, that first milk we collect is called colostrum. It has a lot of great antibodies in it for the calf that kind of boosts its immune system. But we also give the calf a couple vitamins and vaccinations just to promote the overall health of the calf.
Are the mother cows kept close to their babies?
So we do, like you saw earlier, we have the little pen there for the calves initially, and then we move them out to an individual hutch where we can take care of them there. It's kind of like how right now you guys are in school while your parents are over at work probably. So just like the cow has to go to work, the calves go to school.
That also lets Farmer Matt and his dad take really good specific care for those calves as they get their days started. Can check on them a little bit closer, make sure they're not sick, make sure they're eating as much as they need to, and keep them safe too. As you can see, these cows are really big. Matt was saying that, so it's nice to make sure the smaller calves stay with their same size, and then the bigger cows stay with their herd mates and stay safe and healthy. So while they're not together all the time, they are well taken care of.
And we're just gonna pop in on the robotic milker for a little bit and see what that's doing a while.
So while we were there talking, Gordon swept up the feed in front of the cows again, scanned, and obviously this cow, she decided, well, I want to push it back out. Like I said, cows can be a little cantankerous.
Farmer Matt, I don't know if we can see you.
Yep, just give me a second, reconnecting.
Okay. So let's take a look at the robotic milker for now. And okay, we're back. So we were looking at the robotic milker for a little bit. How much does one of those cost?
So that really depends. What all options and features, just like whenever you go to buy a car, depending on the options and features you choose, kind of determines the price.
And how did you figure out to use those on your farm? All of the robots in general.
So we go through a training period with the cows. So for 3 days, we were in the barn here with the cows 24/7, taking them to the robot and kind of guiding them in there so that they figured out, oh, wait a minute, I get a little candy, I get a little treat in here, and also I get milk. Cows really enjoy being milked as well. So after those first 3 days, then we kind of take a little bit of a step back, and we'll just in the barn, instead of 24 hours a day, it took about 20 hours or so. And then after those next 3 days, the cows just kind of learn themselves.
And how long does it take to milk one cow?
So on average, a cow is in the robot about 7.5 minutes per milk.
How many on average?
And typically on average, the cows are going through about 2.7 to 3 times a day. So they get milked 3 times a day. And then each cow will try to come back another time or two, trying to get another taste of that pellet before it's actually her turn to be milked.
At what age do they start to give milk?
So we try whenever the cow is 2 years old for her to have the first calf.
And cows, in order to produce milk, have to have a calf. They have to have a calf first, and then they'll start producing milk. I know 2 years old. I have a little 2-year-old at home. That's not exactly the same as in human years. Think about it kind of as in dog years, you know, times 7. That's not scientific, but a little bit like that. Or in their months in age, or excuse me, their age in months is kind of like their age in years for humans. So Matt said they like to have their first calf here on their farm around 2 years old, which is about 24 months old. And so that would be kind of like a 24-year-old human. So pretty much on pace for what's a human age for having a calf. And again, they're big animals, so they grow a lot quicker than we humans do. So when that age sounds a little different, that's why. Calves are normally born at about 100 pounds. So you know, they're already bigger than maybe some of you that are joining us today. So.
Why aren't they mooing right now?
So cows will move for random reasons. Right now, I think most of them are just quietly relaxing, and some of them are just up eating. So they don't have much to say right now.
What's
Like
the
I said
hard?
earlier, that's one of the things I really like about this barn is how quiet it is. The cows are extremely comfortable. Like Amy said earlier, the life of a cow is a good one. All the food you could eat, comfortable place to lay, climate controlled barn. Doesn't get much better than that. So what was the next question that I interrupted there?
What's the hardest part about working on the farm?
Oh, the hardest part of working on the farm. Some days it's the long hours. So last night we were actually up chopping haylage until it was about 11:30 till I got back to my house. After starting the day at about 6 o'clock that morning. So that can get the long hours can get to you. But then there's other days where we're done and out of the barn by 5 or 6 o'clock. And again, that's one of the perks here of having robots is we're given that flexibility, and the cows are still getting milked, they're getting fed, and their manure is getting cleaned up.
Do you bathe the cows?
No, we don't. The cows naturally shed just like the breeds of dogs shed. And then also the brushes help. And you'll notice some of the cows will just lick each other, social grooming.
Getting close on time. So Matt, is there anything else that you want to make sure everybody knows before we ask for any last questions?
I can't think of anything. You guys have done a great job of asking some questions, so I'm happy to field a couple more.
Sorry. Do you offer in-person tours?
Yeah, so we do actually offer in-person tours. We've done it for a variety of different groups. One of my favorites was actually a retirement village. They called and wanted to bring a bus load out, so we gave them a tour of the barn and showed them the cows and what we do to take care of the cows, because that's something we love to share our story. Dairy farmers love to educate consumers and show you that we truly take care of the cows to the best of our ability.
We have a quick question about, have any of the robots ever malfunctioned? And if so, what do you do? And are there repair shops that fix them?
Yeah, so robots are a piece of technology. I'm sure most of you have been using computers and things over the last couple of years. So the number one troubleshooting thing with a robot is to turn it off and turn it back on. Thankfully, we do have service technicians, so they are available throughout the day, and then even somebody's on call 24/7. Since our robots are a 24/7 operation, if I have an issue, I can pick up the phone, and the technician, he actually only lives about 30 minutes away. Like was kind of mentioned earlier, it takes a lot to run a farm, not just the farmer here day to day, but also there's a lot of support system back behind the farmer. So my veterinarian, my nutritionalist, the milking company that helps service and take care of the robots for me, and also educate me on how to use them and everything, and our hoof trimmers and everything. It's a whole big team effort that makes a dairy farm function.
Very cool. And that's a great note to end on. Do you have anything else you'd like to mention?
I'm really glad you guys took time out of your busy school day to come out and learn a little bit about our operation and kind of the uniqueness that the robots have afforded it. So definitely keep drinking your milk, eating your ice cream, your cheeses, your yogurts. I'm a sucker for Rocky Road ice cream.
Very cool. Well, there are a couple questions left, but just so you all know, we will answer them and send them out in an email. Make sure you take your survey, and thank you so much, everyone, for joining us.